Hi, Helena.
Hi, Adam.
And hi to all of our listeners. It's so good to have you here today and to be sharing our wonderful guest with you. But first, let's introduce ourselves. Helena, take it away.
My name is Helena Dix, and recently I've been called the hostess with the mostess, so I'll take that. I'm an operatic soprano who camps out on stages all around the world and has just come back to glorious Melbourne. Whoop, whoop. I love to sing those high notes. I love to laugh. I love to cook. I love my dog. I love many things in life, but this podcast is the best.
And my name is Adam Miller. I'm a former opera singer turned producer, writer and director. And Helena, you and I have worked together in many different capacities over the years, including this awesome and fun podcast. Now, Helena, tell everybody who's our guest today.
Our guest today is a dear friend of both of ours, and he dates back many centuries.
It might be true.
Our guest today is none other than our very dear friend, Dr. Simon Lobelson.
Dr. Simon Lobelson. Oh, we are thrilled to have Simon as our guest today. Baritone extraordinaire, educator and champion of contemporary opera. He was born in Sydney, raised in Brussels. Dr. Simon Lobelson studied at the Royal College of Music in London before returning to Australia to build a career spanning 4 continents and countless operatic roles and collaborations with the likes of the Sydney Conservatorium of Music and Opera Australia. Now, as we pick up the conversation, Helena is being a little judgmental about Simon's attire. Don't forget to listen in at the end of the podcast for a little wrap-up from Helena and I.
It's a good look there, mate. Got the tailing dressing gown and comfy and cushy and ready for some love.
Look, it's 6:40 p.m. It's the last day of school holidays.
Oh, yes.
Look how I feel.
Of course, because you're at the Sydney Conservatorium now. Is it school holidays there as well, or do they just go straight through?
No, mate. They're only at uni for 26 weeks a year.
Holy crap.
They get 2 months off between the last week of May and the first week of August.
No. Wow. Yeah. I had no idea.
Singers. And it's great because they all say to me in the last week, have a great break. And I'm like, we don't get a break because they pile on the admin in the break. And they keep us very busy.
Oh God, what do you do during the break? What's the admin?
Oh, mate, there's marking and sitting on recital panels and preparing for next semester, writing unit of study outlines and publishing them and preparing course outlines and all those wonderful fun things. And sometimes I sit there and go, I'm at the keyboard and I just want to start crying. And I say, I just wanted to be an opera singer. What am I doing with my life?
The question we all ask, what are we doing with our lives? So how do you do singing lessons with only 26 working weeks in the year with these kids? Like, that's so little contact.
Each kid gets 26 lessons.
Yeah.
But then I lecture across a whole range of other weird and wonderful subjects. So they see a lot of me, actually.
Okay. I'm loving it very much. I've got to say, like, I feel like I've massively lost touch with you enough that I had no idea that you're a doctor now. How long have you been a doctor?
I've been a doctor since 2022.
No way. Oh my God. So what?
Yeah, I've saved so many lives.
So many, including mine.
Oh my God. We're going to ask some questions about that later.
Dr. Lobelson in the house.
Before we chat all things doctorish, let's go right back to the beginning for you, Simon.
It's a very good place to start.
What drew you into opera and performance in the first place?
Well, I started playing piano, then cello, and I always loved classical music. And then when I was about 12, my parents took me to this boring dinner party and they made me sit in the other room so as not to talk to the guests. And they put on the VCR of Amadeus and I watched it. This stone statue came crashing through the wall and I just went, that is so cool. I want to be him.
I want to be the stone statue.
But I never will be him because I'm 5'7". But it's okay. But what's actually nice about so
you can be a statuette.
I could be a statuette. I don't identify as a statuette. But what's really nice about this, and I'll continue in a minute, is that I first met the two of you doing that very opera in different contexts.
That's true.
Oh, yes.
Mm.
Oh, my
Where
God.
did you guys meet on ETO, or where did you two meet?
Yeah, we met on ETO.
Practically lived together for 4 months.
That's right.
Mm.
That was a heck of a tour because, last season we had good old Mark Cunningham on. So, just bringing the ETO gang back together.
Wow, did he tell all the stories?
He told a few stories.
There were some
Just a few. Not all the good ones.
great stories. I mean, things you just can't do anymore, on stage.
Oh, for sure. Simon, that's how you and I met. We did the English touring opera tour. How did you and Helena meet? Because I was trying to remember that today.
Well, we met doing the opera project tour of Don Giovanni.
Right. Oh, I came and saw that show. Yes.
I'd never met the girl, and all of a sudden we're driving around England together doing various performances of this wonderful opera.
And during,
I think the thing I had to concentrate most on was not corpsing on stage whenever she looked at me.
Oh, because she's the worst. We've established this in other episodes, is that she's the absolute worst for making other people corpse, but she won't laugh.
She's bad. She just has to look at me.
we bonded the most over when we were on those car trips. We got to that point of kind of, we were so tired and like doing so many tours, it's a hard old road, when you're doing the tours.
Mm.
And Simon and I basically spent one car trip, especially where we were extra tired, recalling Australian adverts from our childhood and singing the theme songs. And that was literally like, we were like, no, is it? Yeah. We were doing coddies. We were doing cat food commercials.
That was so good back then, but I still have a bone to pick with you, Ms. Dix.
What's that?
There was indeed, and I would like someone to correlate this, there was indeed a commercial for Pal Puppy Food in the 80s, and the theme tune was Pal Puppy Food, you can't give a dog a better start in life.
Yes.
I've never heard that.
You swear to God you don't remember that.
Doesn't exist.
Yeah. No, I've definitely heard that.
That happened.
100%.
You thought I was just doing some Aaron Neville impersonation. I wasn't.
By the way, listeners, we are not sponsored by Pal Puppy Food, just putting it out there. But if they want to reach out,
there are
no
other
problem.
dog foods available.
Yeah, no problem.
Right. So Amadeus
and then
is where we took our detour.
And then at school, I started singing, and I had this really supportive teacher. That's where it all starts, always for all of us, who said, "Oh, look, you got a good voice." And I was singing at a barbershop quartet in Pitt Street Mall, and making thousands of dollars every time. And and he said, "Oh, your voice is good. You should get it trained." So I got it trained, and the rest was history, really. I studied music at uni, and then went on to the Royal College. And I'd always planned on coming back to Australia after that, but then Hannah, my wife, and I kept getting work. And so we stayed and stayed and stayed and stayed and stayed. And then 2012, when my first son was about to be born, we thought, okay, this is the crux moment. We're coming home. And we did. And we arrived home. It was 2 months later. We made the decision. And 2 months later, we were back in Sydney. And we had no house, no car, no jobs, no furniture, and a child on the way.
It feels like a great decision right there.
A great decision, I know. And so then Gabriel was born, and then we bought the car, and then the furniture arrived, and then the cat arrived from England. And you know what? 13 years later, we're okay now.
Has it been
Amazing.
13 years? My goodness. Gosh.
In 13 years.
Yeah.
And you actually met him when he was about a week old.
That's right. And I got to inherit Simon Lobelson's windowsill plant, which is definitely my claim to fame. I sold it on eBay. That's how I made my millions. And all the fans.
Sold the plant I gave you on eBay. This interview is over.
That's it. I'm going. Mic drop. Off we go. So that's quite a journey. So I love the fact that it started with Amadeus. I kind of, when I think of Simon Lobelson, I think of the journey for you starting like with jazz hands and tap dancing. But I'm surprised to learn that it started with Amadeus and a statue and the love of
that was not my journey. I've never done jazz hands ever, and I can dance, but I choose not to. And it did start, and it's still my first love. I have to listen to Don Giovanni every 6 months just to keep my testosterone level up. Very important. And
me too.
I feel as singers, I feel you too. And I feel as singers, one, I don't know, you feel free to discuss or disagree with me. I reckon as singers, people need to start their career with Mozart and end their career with Mozart.
Oh, I like
So you're going
that.
to start singing, you start singing Barbarina and you graduate to, Susanna, Countess, whatever. And then when you're, 60, 70, 80 years old, maybe younger in this country, you finish with Marcellina or Bartolo or the Commendatore or whatever.
What do
And
you
in between, you've done a whole plethora of wonderful other things.
do you think that's the case because you think Mozart's like some kind of statuesque god, or do you think it's that way because you think what's your reasoning behind it?
Yes to both those things. Firstly, he is a statuesque god, and I've noticed that the combination of Mozart and E flat major is the most special combination I've ever come across in all his music.
And why is that?
Just when he writes in E flat, it's amazing. I don't know why.
So obviously I know when he's writing an E flat, but for our listeners who may not know, can you give us some examples of him writing an E flat?
There's several piano concertos in E flat. There's the 39th Symphony in E flat, which is mystical. There's, of course, the Overture to the Magic Flute in E flat. There's various arias in E flat. Sorry, I sound like a complete wanker, but it's just...
No more than usual, Simon. It's fine.
Thank you, Adam. We haven't seen each other for so many years.
I know. This is a great reunion, starting with insults already.
People don't change. It's great. I'm so glad this is not live, that we're in person. Yeah, no, Mozart is a statuesque god, but also... Sorry, what was your other question?
No, well, I was just curious as to your reasoning.
Oh, it just came back to me because I really just think that at any age people should sing Mozart and be able to sing Mozart. I mean, he wrote so much music, and when I come across younger singers who say, "Oh no, I can't sing Mozart. My voice is too big for Mozart." I just think, really?
I mean, that's a bit wacky. Yeah, it's a bit wacky.
It is because you look at the people who sung Mozart across history. George London, Joan Sutherland. John Vickers, Richard Tucker, they all sang Mozart.
Simon Lobelson.
And they all sang it. And I just think, well, is it Mozart you can't sing or you just can't sing?
It's funny because...
It sounds like your lessons are really positive. That's what I like. It's the affirmations.
They are so positive. Some of the things I live my life on the border of cancellation. And some of the things, and I only go home at the end of the day and I think, did I say that to one of my students? Oh my God. I mean,
I remember working with a coach who, across the course of the coaching, progressively threw larger and larger things at me until I got it right. So it started with an eraser, and then it went to a pen. Then it went to a pencil. Then it went to a pen. The last thing I had to duck was a little statuette that she had.
Was it the grand piano? Was it gone out of the room after your lesson?
Was that Tony Legg?
No, it wasn't.
Because he did that to me when I first came to the academy to do my postgrad. He got paper planes and he had a whole stack of them next to the piano. And on one of my first coachings with him, every time I looked like I was concentrating or I did this with my eyebrows, he'd throw a paper plane at me. And every time it got like more vigorous as it went. And I was like, oh my God. And then he realized, then I was like this, I was like with my eyebrows like up the whole time, like, so it didn't look like I was focusing. He's like, Dix, you think too much. Just sing. It's so much better when you just sing. Stop thinking. So every time I kind of looked like I was thinking, he'd throw one of these things with me. And then he realized that I got used to it. So then I was, still thinking, but not doing the eyebrows. And he got onto me. So then he started swearing as well. So every time I would do it and he'd realize, even though my eyebrows wouldn't go down, he'd go, and he'd like push one of these paper airplanes at my head. I was like, this guy is mental. It was literally my first coaching with Tony.
I love that this is a good technique.
It was entertaining nonetheless.
It's not a bad technique.
You know that you're giving Simon ideas now. This is gonna become part of his regular
paper
practice.
Planes. It's going to prepare them over the break.
Oh,
yeah, that's it.
Oh, absolutely. But to be serious, the thing I say to people is I can be the most supportive lecturer you've ever had, or I can be an absolute and whether you get Dr. Jekyll or Mr. Hyde is completely up to you. I'll give you everything or I'll give you nothing, but it's completely up to you. People need to reclaim agency over their own singing, their own careers, their own journey, listening and being informed, which is what this program is so great for informing singers about what the industry that they're expected to go in. And so many that I meet have no idea about what actually awaits them. That, they think they can sing a few arias and conquer Europe by storm. But I don't know.
It's funny listening to you talk about, these very strong ideals that you have, Mozart, blah, blah, blah. And this is what makes you such a great teacher and lecturer and all this kind of thing. And it's why it's important that we have people like you in our institutions, because you're real and you've got opinions, but they're not based on nonsense. They're based on reality of, being through it yourself and knowing what's important.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is
Yep.
Hearing you talk about the Mozart thing is I had a very passionate Italian coach once that said to me, one of the worst things that we do in the world outside of Italy in opera is that we start with Mozart and not bel canto. And this was like a huge, like they were really aggressive about it. And they said, you shouldn't start with Mozart. You should definitely be able to sing Mozart and go into it. But, the base of your technique and everyone's technique should be bel canto. And why don't any of you sing, Bellini, Donizetti first? You sing Mozart first and then you chop the voice off. And then it was a very interesting conversation. Sorry, just as a little side note to that as well, I had someone who came to me the other day, and it's quite a big old sound, but he's quite young still. And he said to me, he's a baritone. And he said, I never warm up with, because he said, I need some extra warm up ideas, Helena. And this was just a consultation. And I said, all right. I said, well, how would you usually go about your warm ups? He was like, this is what I do. This is exactly what I do. And I said, well, shouldn't what you do to warm up, I mean, yes, like breath work and body work and stuff should be quite similar, but vocally, shouldn't it be dependent on the repertoire that you're doing as well? Mm-hmm. Give yourself a bit of variety. You can't do the same thing all the time, or you're not going to find colours or creations or anything. And he said, and I said, do you do any coloratura? Do you do any like little like quicker exercise? Because they were all slow. And he said, no, my voice doesn't do coloratura. And I went, okay, you may not do the repertoire, but every voice should have flexibility in its warm-ups. There's no way that you can have a healthy voice by just singing slow all the time. And that was like a revelation to him. And I just thought, gosh, it's interesting, isn't it?
Really? Wow, calcified.
I don't know how you guys feel about that, but I disagree with that. I just think that's ridiculous. So
I actually do agree with you that the foundation of any technique has to be sound bel canto technique. And if you can't sing a simple Bellini or Donizetti aria, then you probably shouldn't sing anything. But you take that, what do I call it? I'm going to call it a pillar, and then you move, you take what you know from that and move it into other repertoire.
Of course.
Into Mozart, into Handel. And for places to say, no, you have to start with Handel and Baroque repertoire and then graduate to Bellini, Donizetti, I think that's ridiculous, because Handel's really hard. Rameau's really hard. They're all really hard. And unless you have a sound technique based in bel canto that can take the voice up and down and make the sound consistent, and all the vowels are matched up and everything's matched, then I'm sorry, you're going to make life a lot harder for yourself. And I'm going to go a step further. That also applies to contemporary repertoire. People think that contemporary repertoire, and I'm sorry to go on about this, but this is what my PhD was on, is about squeaks and burps and farts. But it's not. If you don't have...
Wait, your PhD is about squeaks and burps and farts?
Yeah, that's what it's called. Google it. If you don't have a solid technique... I wish I'd called it that, actually.
That would have been great.
Yeah, you look upset now.
I'm upset. That would have been a much more catchy title. Anyway... If you don't have a solid technique based in bel canto, you won't be able to get through some of these roles that are written by, people like Thomas Adès, John Adams, George Benjamin, Hyatt Sherwin, all these people who are writing cutting edge stuff these days. But also, you just won't do it very well. We're still singers at the end of the day. We still need to be able to sing and make a nice sound.
Yes.
As a basic template.
But what happens when these composers don't give you the tools to make a beautiful sound? I come across it so often when I'm working in contemporary music, and you find yourself going, just give me a phrase, give me anything to play with.
Well, so that's probably to do with their musical rhetoric. That's how they write everything. But also, in a way, it's up to you to take the agency back and make, however chopped up that line is, however wordy or whatever, it is up to you to make that line as bel canto as you possibly can.
Okay, yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we're still singers, and we still need to make things sound like we're singing. Of course, if the composer asks for something that's aggressive and extra vocal techniques, fine. But at the end of the day, we are still singers, and any opportunity you can get to do that, I think is important.
I know that you've been, one of your biggest draw cards is the fact that you do both classical and contemporary repertoire, and you're very well known for doing the contemporary stuff incredibly well. And I love the fact that you talk about that, like keeping that classical bel canto kind of approach, but still then taking it on into this more modern repertoire, rather than just going, it's written like this, so therefore I can get away with this, and this, and sounding, not how I would usually put myself up to standing. I'm not at all experienced in the contemporary repertoire like you are, but I know myself that when I look at the singers who excel the most in it, and that I would be happy to listen to and to explore it, usually, and I don't like being nice to you because you already got a big head enough, but the
small stature, big head. Just
head.
Remember that, everyone.
Big head.
That's what they call a lollipop head.
One of the things that I find with people like yourself is that comes with that hand in hand is intelligence. I have a friend of mine in the States. She's a mezzo and she does a lot of contemporary repertoire as well. And she's so clever. And I don't mean intelligence in the sense of, I can count and bars every few bars and change time signatures and that.
No, that's just practice.
But what I mean is the approach to it. And so do you find that with the contemporary opera that you've done, that there's a different kind of singer that kind of comes on board, or not? I mean, maybe I'm completely making that up, but
I do, but there doesn't have to be. So I think something that's really important, and I think the bel canto technique is important, and it's the same with Baroque singers as well. So the days of this, sorry, I'm going to sound opinionated again, but the days of this anemic, straight-toned, toothpasted tone in Baroque music are gone. We still want singers who can make nice noises and make a phrase out of the music, right?
Yes.
It's the same with contemporary music. It's not squeaks and burps and farts. It's, God, I really wish I'd called it that. Anyway, it's and some of the people I interviewed for my PhD, because it was during COVID, right? So no one had anything on. So I had access to all these wonderful, wonderful singers across the world, like Barbara Hannigan, Simon Keenlyside, Chris Purvis, amazing people, and a few people here, Mike Lewis, Peter Commonwright, who'd sung all this stuff. And they all said the same thing. You have to have a basic good technique that works. But also, I think the other things that are requisites are you have to have, it's not so much, Helena, about intelligence. I think it's more imagination.
Okay.
Because you just got to have a huge palette. You can't sort of phone it in. It's not like, oh, well, I'm doing Tosca and Maria Callas did it like this, so I'm just going to do it like this as well. Because you're not Maria Callas. I don't mean you, I mean one.
I'm not? Oh.
You have, Adam, do you want to tell her?
I can't tell her. She'll leave the podcast.
Adam, okay. That's two people who threatened to leave, Adam.
It'll just be me. That's fine. I can deal with that.
It's going so well. But you have to have this imagination, because the music, even though a lot of modern stuff is very prescriptive, you got to somehow make sense of it so that it sounds like there's a musico-dramatic meaning behind what you're singing. And you do the same thing in all the bel canto stuff you sing, sure.
Yeah.
And in a way that's harder because, Bellini or Donizetti or Verdi is not as prescriptive. Verdi is in things like Macbeth, but not as prescriptive. And you got to somehow use your imagination to make meaning of that. Otherwise, it's just noise, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, true. In the sense of the contemporary stuff that you've done, do you find the productions are quite wild? Like, can you tell us about the craziest production that you've done, like dramatically, that's involved in?
Yeah, I've done a few. Let me think. Well, there was the one for Opera Strata where I had to play Kafka's Gregor Samsa from Metamorphosis. So I'm basically playing an insect and a man who's turned into an insect, and I had to hang from the ceiling and sing and scurry across a cage and just basically be a gymnast. And that was pretty hard work.
It's amazing.
But very rewarding.
A pretty hard work. It would be insane.
Yeah, I was in good shape back then. And I mean, there've been other weird ones where I did one a couple of years ago where I had to sort of there was a very large life-size pig with its stomach cut open. I had to sing while pulling colourful streamers out of the pig's stomach. Yeah, that was great.
Oh yeah, that is an interesting interpretation of the Barber of Seville. I like it.
I wouldn't put it past people these days, to be honest.
The pig was the queen of the night.
The pig, a lot of them are very metaphorical, and that's fine. I mean, if I can get on board with it, that's fine. Otherwise, I'm just bored.
When you're playing,
and when I'm bored, I fuck around on stage.
No. Do you?
I was going to say, Helena and I have both worked with you. We know this is true. Mm-hmm. We've both done long tours with you where you have fucked around on stage a lot. It's one of the reasons we love you, to be honest.
Short attention span. At least with modern music, your brain is so preoccupied counting and trying to find the right pitch that you don't have a chance to fuck around.
That's true.
That's true. That's very true.
Obviously I don't do the contemporary stuff, but I was hired to do a recording of Herbert Howe's Mrs. Subernasis, and that is a bloody hard work, and it's 8-part choral, and it was with the symphony, and I got hired with a day's notice, and all the other soloists had spent about a year learning it.
Yikes.
Oh, wow.
They were struggling to find someone, and it was a case of like, do we put someone in there who is like a sight reader, like a church music expert sight reader, or but we kind of can't because the orchestration was quite heavy, and then the 8-part chorus stuff as well, and the vocal style had to be quite warm and have a bit of a jazzy thing. I've never been, like you talk about concentrating, I've never been so terrified in my life. I'm not,
oh, you did it.
I did it, yeah. Yes. And Gramophone magazine reviewed and said, we haven't heard this woman on record before. Where has she been all our lives? Basically, like saying how wonderful it was. The director rang me. He said, "See, Helena, it's worth all the crying that you did, like behind the scenes." Because I took it on. They couriered the score to my house, and I looked at it and I thought, oh my God, like really? Like I'm not a bad reader, but of course, as you said, the contemporary, like being, it's a different mindset, I think, as well. And I thought, oh, am I going to be nuts to take this on? And they said, oh, we'll send you a coach as well. We'll send you someone to your house to play piano for you to help you.
In the mail?
Yeah, in the mail. Yeah. God, that guy was bendy.
It's another short person.
Yeah, God, he was flexible. But that's.
I'm sure Tony Lake could fit in an envelope.
He probably could, actually. I feel like...
Is that when you threw the stuff at you?
No. But this guy turned up at my house the next morning after I received the score the evening before, and I was obviously up most of the night, like trying to look through. He opened the score and he went, I don't think I can play this. Literally, like.
They sent you a faulty repetiteur.
And he was, one of their go-to repetiteurs. I mean, he hadn't been working on it. He was out my way, and they knew he was out my way. And he's like, yeah, I can give you the melody. And I'm like, dude, I can play the melody. Like, you're here for the textures. Like, I'm trying to work out how to pitch my notes, not.
Oh my God.
Not this is how you sing. So on the day in the studio recording, there's everyone, and obviously everyone knew that I'd come in late, and they were very empathetic, sympathetic, all the affectics, because I was pathetic. Yeah, exactly. And I'm always the most organized in a room by my own standards, and it was terrifying. It was terrifying. I could go in and read some Mozart. I can't go in and read something like this. So I had an app in my ear with one earphone with a keyboard, and every time I tried to come in, I tried to play it, but quite often I couldn't hear it because you got a whole
orchestra.
Oh.
But sometimes I could. Sometimes I'd be like, and I'd be like, and again, I tried to be as charming as possible too, so that people would cut me a bit of slack. But quite often the producer, who had ears of some kind of Tom Hawk, it would be like, stop, Helena, and it'd be like, Helena, bar 22, and I'd be like, yes, and the whole room's listening, the orchestra, the choir, like everything. Bar 22, and I'm like,
it's called public shaming.
Yeah, yes, Peter. Bar 22, I couldn't hear you. Yes, that was for a reason. Why is that, Helena? I thought it would be better if you didn't hear me because I wasn't sure.
Sure.
So, Simon, do you partake in public shaming? Because you're conducting now, right?
Yeah. I just wanted to say something about. So, number one, Helena, I think you've missed your calling.
Yeah.
I think that review was right, and you need to start moving into some of that stuff.
As long as she's got the app.
No, don't use the app because it never works. You make all these plans. You're like, I'm going to have my tuning fork ready. My 7 tuning forks.
Tuning fork?
And I'm going to have...
How old are you, Simon?
I'm going to have the app ready and I'm going to have my...
What is going on?
My earphone in. It never works because you just get so worked up and it's like, that didn't work. But you sing the shapes. Number one, you sing the shapes, right? And you're usually right. But also, this is a weird thing to say, but I practiced and I got lucky. So you practice the music and then the muscular memory takes over and your voice just knows where to go. But of course you had a day. So what am I talking about?
Yeah, but usually, yeah, exactly. If you're well prepared.
But singing the shapes is a good start.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. What a legendary story.
Oh, yeah. So now that you've moved into conducting as well, is that the advice that you give for contemporary work, or are you conducting more classical pieces?
Well, both actually. I conducted a very, very contemporary work last year for the Con Opera at NIDA, and that was out there. The score was absolutely wonderful. It actually had it was called an opera called The Lullaby, and it actually had pictures of Felix the cat and pictures of balloons and stuff in the score. It was graphic notation
for singers to interpret.
Yes.
What noise are you making with Felix the cat? Like, come on, this is the stuff.
Whatever noise comes to your imagination. That's what I'm talking. That's what I'm talking about.
God,
you need to have a big
that's the
imagination.
stuff that drives me crazy with contemporary because they go and make that amazing.
Why?
Like, it's your job to write the music. It's my job to sing the music.
That's too prescriptive.
Don't make me interpret a cat.
I'm sorry. Can we just take it back for a minute? Now I have images of Simon Lobelson and I on an opera together that's interpretive and just being like, wow, wow.
Oh, God.
Meow, meow, meow.
What opera is this that you're singing?
Better for the world that it never happens.
Wee wow, wee wow, wee wow. Bow, bow,
Shout out to all composers out there. If you ever want to write an opera for me and Helena in graphic
it's going to have to be Felix the Cat, the opera.
He didn't have a very interesting life, though, did he? He's not exactly a tragic hero, Felix the Cat.
Oh, my goodness. That's hilarious.
You can make him a tragic hero. If you put him in an opera, he becomes a tragic hero.
Yeah. Yeah, no, conducting's great. I really enjoy it because, my number one love is music. My number 2 love is opera. My number 3 love is singing. So, you too?
No, I was just waiting for the numbers to go so that you could get to...
Helena was pointing at herself, trying to get somewhere on that list.
Oh, you're number 4
I was waiting
is
for
Helena.
Hannah. I was waiting for your wife and the children. And then I was going to go...
Yes. Oh, my wife and children. Yes. So number 4 is my wife and number 5 is my children. Number 6 is my cats. Number 7 is Helena. And number 7 is pizza. And number 8 is Adam.
I made it on the list. So excited.
How's that?
I'll take 7. Yeah, that's all right.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
The disclaimer is the list changes every day.
So, Simon, how do you balance then your teaching at the con, your conducting? How do you balance that with singing as well? That's got to be really hard to pull all that together.
Usually not terribly graciously. Especially when you're responsible for 2 other humans in the house. Look, every day is a different day in our house. Between Hannah, who works at the opera, and my schedule, it's like, I don't know, who's picking up the kids? I thought you were. No, I thought I was. No, I thought you were. No, I'm not doing it. So maybe the cats will do it.
I was going to say, Felix the cat will pick it up.
Felix the cat, but I've got a rehearsal, but you have a rehearsal. And it's like, every day's a different day. But we make it work somehow. It's never a drudgery of a week. It's always different. I learned something very important actually at the end of 2022. 2022 was the first year I was on full-time contract at the con. And I had a full performance diary and I was all over the place in Amsterdam and Queensland and whatever. And it got to about September and I was getting up, taking my kids to school, going to the con, teaching all day, going to either rehearsal or doing a performance. And week after week, and I swear to God, I almost had a nervous breakdown.
Oof. Yeah.
Not surprised.
It was too much because I was so tired. I felt like I wasn't teaching well. I was so tired from teaching vocally. I wasn't rehearsing or performing well. And I made a very conscious decision that the next year I try and balance things better. And that was actually really good because now, I say yes to what I want to say yes to or what I get offered. And it's just boundaries, spending time with family.
Yeah.
And
it's hard when you're hard when you're so, and I mean this in every respectful way, it's hard when you're so talented across the spectrum of things, because at the end of the day, some people teach, part-time or whatever, but their performance, and you're an equally outstanding singer as you are a teacher. I've seen you teach. I know a lot about you as a person and what you offer our industry, and I have the greatest respect for you, which is, only part of the reason why we're friends. But I know from myself, when I was my early days in London and I was doing a show in Germany where
you teach as well all the time, right? You
not
must
as much
go
as,
through the same thing.
Nowadays I can pick and choose a little bit more. It's running an online studio is a little easier, but back in those days I was head of singing at a school, and I'd be flying to Germany doing a show. So I'd fly into Germany. So I'd teach all day. I'd fly to Germany that night, stay in a hotel, get up the next day, do my pre-show routine, do the show, sleep at the airport, get back on a plane at like 6, whatever the earliest flight is, and literally walk back into school the next morning. And that was my life for a while too.
Mm.
How many years ago was that, Helena?
Oh, many. Probably.
Yeah, my point is at this age, it's like that. I'm not doing that.
No, but like in anything, you earn your place, don't you? And when you're younger, for all of us, you do all those crazy things. You do them all because you're passionate to be a part of all of those things. But nowadays, like when you've kind of been there, done that, got the T-shirt, you can map your life out a little bit more as you wish to. And I think you had such a wealth of experience across so many different countries, and you're honest, and bringing that now to the conservatorium as you do. I mean, I'm going to be slightly controversial here. Sometimes in these kind of establishments, you have people that have not been in singers themselves for a very long time, or maybe not at all, or and they have these reputations as teachers, and that's great. But really, for young singers now, they need a reality check of people who are working in the industry, who understand, or who have been working in the industry at least in the last 10 years or so, because you've got to be relevant as well, right? As well as informative and knowledgeable, you've got to be relevant. And for someone like you, who, as you said, you're not going to coddle, you're not going to like wrap them in cotton wool and say, there you go, sweetheart, you've got a lovely voice.
No.
Let me take your money.
No.
You're going to throw things at them.
You're going to throw things at them and call them names.
Don't give me ideas, Adam. Look, I'm a straight arrow. I'm not going to pee on your leg and tell you it's raining, right? I think, truth is the best thing you can give someone. I know it's in this industry, it's always an opinion, right? But there are certain things that are truthful. And I think the problem is that it's hard to give the truth sometimes. But, you can't sacrifice truth because some people are going to suffer from the truth, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You can't just not. And unfortunately, to a T, both Hannah and I are both very, very honest people. And I can't disguise what I'm thinking. It's unfortunate because people think you're an asshole, but I sleep well at night because
you're a tired little asshole. It's fine.
Because I'm tired. Did you just call me little?
Hang on. He's the angry fiddler.
This interview is over.
That's the only.
Can you please tell the angry fiddler story? Can you? I don't even know how that started.
So when we were on our tour of Don Giovanni, we were up in Scotland, and they had these makeshift, like, big tent marquee areas where we were backstage. And one of the stage managers of a show that had been there previously still had a poster up. And it was obviously some kind of weird pantomime or something. And they had a list of all the characters. And there was this picture of this guy with this angry scowl doing a little dance, and with these like musical notes coming out. And he looked like Simon. And it said, stage left entrance, angry fiddler. And I'm like, what the? I'm like, guys, come here. This looks like Simon. And everyone's like, and then one of the girls in the show was like, don't tell him that. He'll get really pissed off with you.
He'll like, throw something at you.
No, he won't. He will appreciate this.
He might even play his fiddle.
And I was like, yeah, he had a fiddle. Okay, so it was angry fiddle. Yeah, exactly. He was playing the fiddle and doing a little dance, and it just looked like Simon and Sid the angry fiddler. And I thought it was hilarious because
And you sent me that picture. You took a picture of that and you sent it to me and went, look, it's Simon. And ever since then, Simon, in my head, you are the angry fiddler. That is how I think of you. That is how I often refer to
Thank
you.
you so much. You know, it's better than a name that a stage manager at Pinch Cut once gave me, which was Grumpy Shit.
Wait, only one stage manager has called you grumpy shit?
To his face.
Actually, it was two. There was one in Scotland. There was one in Scotland as well who called me that. But I'll take Angry Fiddler any day over Grumpy Shit.
I think Angry Fiddler's a bit classier. You know?
Yeah, at least I can play the fiddle.
There you go. There you go. Another string to your bow. Another fantastic musician example right there.
So, Si, one of the things you and I chatted about recently was the fact that you're also adjudicating in competitions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Do you find your role as an adjudicator similar to that of a vocal teacher in the sense of being honest and or do you find it a slightly different responsibility?
I think it is slightly different. In my vocal teaching, I have quite a holistic approach. So it's evaluating every part of the individual and not just the sound that comes out. So there's obviously technique and voice and ability and the tone, but it's also the personality and all the other things that are part of music.
Do you find, though, that when you're working on a panel with other people that your opinions vary quite a bit? Have you ever found yourself in a little argument with anyone? Because, of course, at the end of the day,
Yes.
competitions are opinions, aren't they? You know?
Of course they are. It's all, and I'd say that to them. At the end of the day, any audition, any competition is simply one person's opinion on you. And you might have eyebrows that remind them of their ex-girlfriend, and then they hate you. You know, it's that simple.
I don't know who you're looking at when you say that. This is what really concerns me now.
Has that happened to you, Adam? I'm looking at you, dude.
Yes. Yeah, I was going to say, I get that all the time.
All the time. And so simply an opinion. But I mean, if you haven't got a technique, then you haven't got a technique. But I do find my opinions differ. And I don't know, I work in a certain way in teaching, and I hate to use the word, it is holistic. And things do all tie together in singing. You both know that, you know, the voice, the personality, the physicality, they all go together. And so they should. And that's when you get really great singers, when all those things line up beautifully. But that takes a lot of years.
Yeah.
So in a competition, I don't care if you have the best voice in the world. I mean, if you do nothing with it, and if you stand there like a mop, I don't care. It's not interesting to me.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I want you to. I don't care if you got.
So, what instantly grabs your attention? What are you looking for first?
For me, it's a connection between music, drama, and language.
Okay. Gesamtkunstwerk.
Gesamtkunstwerk. Jawohl. How are you using the language to the service of the music, to the service of the drama? That's what opera is, right?
Yeah.
Opera's drama. That's all it is. It's not a concert. It's not a CD that you're putting on. If you go to an opera, you want the whole experience, right?
That's it. Well, that's what Wagner said.
Otherwise
that is what Gesamtkunstwerk is. It's the all-encompassing work.
Yeah.
We love that.
Well, yeah. I mean, he was an odious little man, but he was pretty smart.
There was going to be a joke there, and I was trying not to say. I was trying not to.
Oh, Adam, it's too obvious.
Yeah, no, I'm not touching it. I'm not touching it.
Anyway, so what am I looking for? No, I love adjudicating. It's really interesting to just sit back and, I don't know, it's like you do a 360 scan. It's like you go through one of those weird biomedical machines where they scan everything. And it's like, you know, dramatic, vocal, musical, language. And your little brain goes, oh, yep. It's just, and then there's this thing called the X factor.
Yeah.
Right?
Do you reckon you're tougher on baritones than you are on any other voice type?
I have been told I am very tough on male singers.
Interesting. By
colleagues. To the point where some males have requested I not be on their recital panel at the con.
Oh, wow.
But I'm not. I'm not tougher on baritones because I know what it's like to be a baritone, you know? You can't really sing anything till you're 30. I mean, you can sing Papageno.
What's your advice then for young baritones? They're 22 years old and they're between fachs. They're not sure what they're going to do yet.
Yeah.
What do you say to those baritones?
Well, it's interesting because, you know, until I was about 22, I couldn't even sing a single lyrical line in a Mahler song. And then, you know, I went to a different teacher and things changed. But it was like I think it was the encouragement. It was John Pringle, who was just a wonderful man, but it was the encouragement from him, but also working with another baritone. And I think my balls just dropped as well at that point.
Helps.
It does help with that repertoire.
That was the turning point for Helena as well.
Oh, they haven't dropped yet, Adam. I meant to tell you.
But don't make fun of her, okay? So I think that the thing is, baritone is a very large term.
Yeah.
Because it encompasses people who can sing Peleus and Rigoletto and Macbeth and Iago and Hans Sachs, and then, all the way down to, I don't know, Leporello, Boris Godunov. It's such a chameleon, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And we can't all do all of them. And of course, in oratorio, we're required to sing all the bass parts. And, it's not that classic thing about escamillo. Escamillo is either a baritone with no bottom or a bass baritone with no top.
Yeah.
So we kind of live that life. But at the end of the day, I think sing what you can sing and sing what people tell you that you sing well and go with that. And then as you get older in your 20s, you find that you can suddenly sing a whole lot of other things. And that's a combination of getting older and your technique getting better.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any prescriptive route for any singer. You sing this and this and this and this and this. I mean, certainty, you can't be certain about that. Have you seen Conclave with Ralph Fiennes?
No,
I haven't. I need to see this movie. Everyone tells me I've got to go see it.
I'm not even Catholic and I've seen it. But there's this one line that Ralph Fiennes delivers, and he says something like, certainty is the enemy of unity. Certainty is the enemy of tolerance. And even on the cross, Jesus Christ wasn't certain. And if we all had certainty, we wouldn't need faith. I have a huge mistrust of anyone who's certain about anything.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Now, I have opinions, but I know I'm not. I know that I'm not. I know they're not necessarily correct, and I'm happy to discuss them with anyone. But this whole concept of certainty, you must sing this and you must do that, and technically you must do this. And
yeah, I hate that too.
I don't know. I just think, singers are all different. We're all different. We all develop at different stages, and
I'm sure that you get to a point in your lesson sometimes, even when you're teaching, and you learn something from them too, don't you? Like I've had that too, where I'm
absolutely,
like, gosh, that's interesting.
Sometimes I just go, how did you do that? I have no idea how you did that. But yeah, of course, you pretend like you know how you can do it. But yeah, it's. I do get to a point, and I'm like, I don't think I taught you how to do that. But that's the point where they're listening and thinking for themselves.
Exactly.
And exploring and
that's what I say to my students all the time.
That's the most wonderful thing about music.
A good teacher can give them the tools to explore themselves, and to like I say to my students all the time, when you're practicing, don't practice, and if it sounds like shit, don't then go, oh, well, it sounds like shit, so I'm just going to stop. What you do is you go, it sounds like shit. How cool is that? I really want to find a way to make that better. So you take the tools that I've given you, you take the tools that you've got yourself as a singer and as an artist, and you find that for yourself. And literally every new role that we take on, I know myself, every new role that I take on, I'm like, oh, doesn't sound great. Good. That's good. I'm pleased. It's challenge. I want to challenge. I want to craft it myself, and I want to Helena-fy it, and make it mine, because that's what's so beautiful. Yeah, so what's so beautiful about the human voice is that this is what I hate about people. Like, I want to sing it like Joan Sutherland. Well, don't want to sing it like Joan Sutherland. Want to sing it like yourself, and obviously. I have a student who
not that anyone can even do that.
I have a student who's a coloratura, and she's a lovely, lovely girl, and I adore teaching her, but she cracks me up. She'll come and she'll have prepared all her embellishments, and I go, oh, that's really cool. She's like, I got that from blah blah, and she like just rattles off like all the singers who she's taken the ornaments from, and I'm like, or great idea, but let's make it yours. Let's
And that's the one, and I'm going to get full circle now. That's the wonderful thing about contemporary opera. You will always make it your own, because no one's done it before you. You have no choice but to make it your own. So in a way, we've got the cart before the horse, because I feel like doing music that's really interesting and rare has been. We have this lineage of you do Mozart, Handel, and then you do contemporary music. But in fact, if you are taught to have the imagination and think for yourself, and do the contemporary music and then go to Mozart or Handel or Verdi or whatever, that will change you as a person. That will change you as an artist because you've had to think about it. You can't phone it in.
Well, that's exactly the same as me being a jazz scat singer before I started classical.
Were you?
I was.
Did I know that?
I don't know, but
we had so many hours in the car, you never told me that.
I spent too long singing commercials.
That's what the podcast is for, to spread the legend of Helena.
Yeah.
Well, there are so many great commercials from the 80s, you know.
But yeah, no, I know what you mean. Although, doesn't it also, I'm going to be really controversial here, doesn't it also give you the license that if it's no one will really know because they don't really know any better either?
Are you saying I sing shit?
No.
And then there's an awkward silence of just nodding and looking sideways.
But it's true. If you go watch a contemporary opera, you're not going to go, oh, they sang a wrong note or that's particularly unattractive because in your head you're like, well, maybe it was supposed to be. I don't know. What do I know?
I'm going to be honest. I relied on that. When I was doing contemporary music, I relied on that. I relied on the fact that only the composer and the conductor knew how badly I'd messed up that music.
Well, often the composer didn't even know himself.
More than once did I have a composer come up and go, oh, wow, that was fantastic. I'm like, not even close to what you wrote, buddy.
Oh, well, you improved their music.
There's not contemporary music, but I did a production of Roberto Devereux back from Melbourne Opera, and it was an English translation. The guy who did the translation comes to our rehearsals and he's like, but you've changed stuff to me. And I was like, yes, I've made it better. And he's like, but that's not what I wrote. I'm like, correct, because if I sang what you wrote, it doesn't actually match the original text at all. Like it's not the same, you're actually verging from the storyline. He was very upset and I was just like,
yeah. But you know what? It's like that maxim of like, a piece of music is just a blank check. That's it. It's written, it's for the singer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Puccini finishes, La Bohème, puts down his pen. Whose opera is it now?
It's a trick question.
It's whoever sings it.
Yeah.
It's up to them. Right. It's up to them. It's not a trick question. It's up to them to make it their own. Otherwise, it's no longer Puccini's opera. And I'm sorry, that's a very controversial thing to say.
Oh, I totally agree.
And we've all sung La Bohème 100 times, but obviously none of us wrote it. But we are the ones responsible for making people want to see that opera.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've got to make it your own. Apropos Devereux, I did it in Spain years ago, and the second performance, I had a raging chest infection, and they panicked and sent me to an ENT. And it was great because, it wasn't great, it was terrible. But actually, the Spanish doctor said to me, I have a good news and the bad news. The good news is your core's super healthy. I went, okay, great. What's the bad news? The bad news is you will not sing tonight. But he gave me prednisone. He gave me prednisone, very strong, and I managed to have one octave in the performance.
Oof.
Oh, Jesus!
But very softly. So there's this whole orchestra playing under me, and I'm like,
you're like, puppy food.
Hello. Neville. And it was the most surreal experience of my life. I felt so embarrassed. I wanted to crawl under a rock.
But you learned that your chords were healthy, and that was cool.
But I learned that my chords were healthy, and that's the main thing, right?
And you made it your own. You made it your own.
No, that's not my own. That can be someone. That can be someone else.
You can give that one away.
Yeah, that anyone can have that.
So, Simon, we might, before we get to our rapid five questions, I'm really curious. We know you as largely the angry fiddler, a grumpy baritone and teacher. But what makes you hopeful about the next generation of singers?
I feel hopeful that they've had good counsel. I feel hopeful that they are a fairly respectful generation, and that their minds and their tolerances are much more open than ours were 20 years ago.
Yeah.
That they're exposed to much more. I wish that people, the next generation, would listen and explore more and get to know singing and classical music more if they want to be in the industry. I mean, I really think that 70% of my love obsession with music is through having listened to lots of things in my life. I mean, I can show you my CD shelf, which is,
Wow, that is an impressive CD collection right there. That is a wall of CDs for our listeners at home.
For our listeners, there's 7 CDs behind him on the wall.
7 really big CDs.
Yeah.
And
Like
all
giant-
of me singing Nessun Dorma.
Like giant checks, but in CD form.
Yeah. Just to expose yourself to wonderful singers, to wonderful music, whatever genre it may be. And just to learn by doing that. But no, I am hopeful. And I think the world's a very strange, interesting place at the moment.
Mm.
But I think as a human race, we will come through it or we won't.
I was going to say, there's only really two options there.
Mm-hmm. Box A or box B.
Yeah. On that hopeful note, we might wrap this up. So thank you so much. I'm conscious it's the last night of your school holidays and you're back into it tomorrow. So we won't take up much more of your time. But we do like to finish with our rapid 5 questions. Are you up for our rapid 5 questions, Simon?
Okay, I'm up for it.
Here we go. Helena, do you want to kick us off?
Mr. Angry Fiddler, can you juggle?
Only 2 balls.
That is really surprising. Of all the skills you have, I really would have picked that you just would have juggled really easily, really quickly. Fascinating. Okay.
Hey, you've done Babu. You've done Babu with me. I can't even shave someone's face. If I could juggle as Figaro, I would have juggled surely.
To be fair, I always used to work when I did Figaro. I used to work juggling into it. Have you ever busked?
Busked.
Busked.
Yeah. When I was 15, 16 years old, we used to busk in Pitt Street Mall, and we used to sing barbershop quartets, and we'd get paid a bit of money. But the problem is that, like, I was a sort of baritone second tenor back then, and all the girls were interested in was the second bass.
Yeah.
The guy with the I was there like, who's the guy with the really deep voice? We really love him. It's like he's not doing anything. He's just rolled out of bed.
Yeah, and all he does is go.
That's it. I'm the one singing the melody. Anyway, yes, I have busked.
I hear that.
Excellent.
Simon,
I made so much money from it, but not as much as my kids will make from the swear jar.
wonder where they get that from. If you weren't a singer or a teacher, what would you love to do as a job? Something? Have you ever thought about anything else?
Oh, no, but I would love to. I'd love to A, run a bookshop.
Oh, cool.
B, be a classical music critic, but I kind of do that a little bit, but that's not a full-time job anymore, especially in this country. Or 3, be a publican in a country English pub.
Oh, I can so see that. You would be a fantastic publican. Yes. Oh my
You've got
God.
a lot of the qualities.
That's the job for you. Yeah, you can. Yeah, we're giving the library away. We're giving everything else away. Yep, we're giving you a pub. That's the job. I love that. Oh my God.
You know what? Find me a pub, buy it for me, and I'll run it.
Done. Lock it in. We'll make that happen. But it's going to be in Melbourne because that's where Helena and I are based. Like, that's where it's going to happen.
No, it has to be in England.
Oh, okay. Oh, then we'll come and visit you. Yeah, fair enough.
You know, the ones with the fires and the dogs.
Yes.
And Mark Cunningham.
And
Mark Cunningham. Done.
He needs to be there too.
I'll try and turn my house into a I'll get some new plans drawn up for you.
If you could perform a duet with anyone in the world, living or dead, who would it be?
You know what? I'm going to say, because we've done it, and it was one of my favorite memories, I just want to sing Bess You Is My Woman Now with Helena again.
Oh, nice.
That was so much fun because we sang it in concert, and it was such a great, and we had this lovely girl introducing us called Daniela. A shout out to Daniela Early.
Oh, yes.
And she was supposed to she's
This was one of my shows. This is one that I produced.
Yep.
Yeah, it was.
Oh my God. I'd forgotten about that.
It was meant to be an erudite introduction, and it was like, so, ladies and gentlemen, we got a duet now from Porgy and Bess. Porgy is a a black cripple in a wheelchair,
Stop it.
and now we have Simon to sing it for you, who is none of those things. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, Foggy and Bess. And I just went, that is the best and the worst introduction.
That girl was on
Ever.
fire. She was on fire for that.
Oh, my God.
Oh my
I
God,
would
I've
love to
forgotten
do that
about
again
that.
with you, Helena.
Yes. Oh
I
my
just
God,
love-
let's do that.
I just love that I didn't prompt Simon to say that he'd choose me, and he
Yeah, let's
still
do
chose
that.
me. I think that's lovely. Simon, if you had to enter every room with a personal theme song,
Hang on, it's gone all. Wait a second.
Oh.
It's gone all. Brr, 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 brr. I just need to turn my camera
Oh,
off.
okay, let's
Turn
try
it
that.
back on.
Okay, can you hear us now?
You've frozen.
You've frozen.
you frozen.
No, you've frozen. No, you've frozen.
You're
No,
frozen.
you've frozen.
Are you back? There we
Okay,
go.
I'm not frozen.
Let it go.
Here we go.
I can hear you.
Yeah,
Okay,
awesome. Let's just go.
Simon, let's try this again.
Yeah.
It's like, if you had to enter every room with a personal theme song, what would it be?
Oh, No. Stop. It's again.
Okay, let's try it without camera
Just
on.
wait.
Give that a go.
Just wait. You guys are both frozen. What should I log in, log out, and log in?
No. Just hang out. Just hang out. It'll come back. I believe in you.
Thank you.
Can you hear us?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Yeah, well then just answer the question.
Okay. What's the question?
You haven't asked.
I was going to say.
You haven't even asked it yet.
I was
Simon,
going to say. Just wait.
shut
No,
up.
before your question. No, shut up. Before you shut up. Before your question, I was going to say. The reason I didn't choose Adam is because there's no duets we can sing together. We're the same voice type.
Stop being a suck.
Except stupid Don Pasquale, which is a duet anyway.
You could do the cat
Yeah.
duet as baritones.
We could do the Felix duet. Felix the cat duet.
Right, Simon, shut up now. If you had to enter every room with a personal theme song, what would it be?
My God. It would be the first 4 bars of the overture to Don Giovanni.
Oh, that's good.
Can you sing that for us?
Bum ba bum ba bum ba bum ba. That's it.
Yeah, fantastic.
But there's a whole lot of chords that I couldn't do.
No, that's perfect. That's absolutely perfect. And we will give that to you. You can have that entering every room for the rest of your life as your personal theme song.
Thank you. Every room.
Every room. Yeah. Now, Helena, have you got a bonus question there for us?
Yeah, since Simon brought up pizza and it's on theme with our podcast, Simon, do you eat pizza with a knife and fork?
No.
Yes. Excellent. I knew it. You have redeemed yourself in every single way,
Because I
shape,
do.
and form, Simon Lobelson.
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah,
Really?
Helena does.
Sometimes
Like
I fold it over if it's too packed, but I know I will not use a knife and fork for pizza.
No, good man.
Whatever.
That is the correct answer.
Thanks, Adam.
You are released. You're allowed to go.
Oh, that's it?
With that, wonderful victory on my part. Yeah, that's it. You're done. So thank that. Honestly, we've set up this entire podcast just to get you to this point of admitting that you don't eat pizza with a knife and fork. Put Helena back in her place, and now
I
you
feel
can
like
go.
Orpheus being released from Hades.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome,
Look,
Stephanie.
Simon, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. It's been a joy catching up with you. It has been way too long, and we shouldn't leave it this long again. So I'm looking forward to catching up soon.
Way too long.
Thank you,
Let's do it
Simon.
soon.
Thank you, Dr. Lobelson.
My love.
Take it easy.
Thank
Thanks so
you.
much. Bye.
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 Oh, Helena, how good was that? What a great
Look,
chat.
So lovely. Like, first of all, for us, obviously for you and I, catching up with an old friend.
Yes.
That's a bit self-indulgent, but nevertheless, still wonderful. And, you know, a different kind of guest from what we've had on previously, because Simon just encompasses so many different things that we've not talked about before. Things like, you know, contemporary opera, things like the fact that he's done his, you know, doctorate and that he's a professor and that he's at the Sydney Con. And it just gives me so much hope that someone like him, who is refreshingly honest, let's just put it like that.
You'll never die wondering what what Cy is
You'll never
thinking.
die wondering. He was pretty well behaved though.
Well,
but yeah,
this is something that you and I
yeah.
talked about. I think we were both surprised. I saw a couple of looks on your face where we thought, oh my God, Simon, he's being so well behaved. What's that about?
It was nice, it's like the grown-up version of all of us, really, like
Well, he is a doctor now, so he's supposed to be the grown-up one.
Exactly. No, it's really fascinating, Adam, because we talked a lot about still sticking to these bel canto roots, which I'm familiar with in the sense of our training and all that. I think what I took from the conversation, which surprised me actually, because I'm not a contemporary opera lover. I will say that quite honestly.
Yep.
And the fact that Simon was talking about how you have to colour it to make it your own.
Yes.
Just as I had never thought about it like
me
that.
either.
I just thought about it just upsetting me because the time signatures changed so much and, and maybe it wasn't as melodic as I'm used to.
Yeah. But I think about how many wasted opportunities I had having done so much contemporary opera over the years that I didn't have someone like Simon giving me that advice. Like nobody had ever said those words to me about taking that ownership of making it beautiful. I'd always assumed if you give me this squeaky gate music, I'm going to give you squeaky gate singing right back. And I wasn't doing it on purpose. I wasn't trying to sabotage things, but I didn't have the musical maturity to understand how to integrate beautiful singing into what I really considered difficult music.
You have to be a real, you have to be so good at your art to be able to get to that point to do that though, right?
Yeah.
And Simon is. And there are not many people who are. And it was funny when I said to him that I think people who do contemporary music and stuff need to be intelligent. He said, no, I don't think it's that. It's imaginative.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then he compared it to the bel canto stuff. And I thought, oh, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
I really had never considered it like that. So that's really opened up my mind to thinking about things a little differently, I have to say.
There were so many insights that blew my mind that I wasn't expecting. Again, you and I know Cy as the angry fiddler that we have fun hanging out with on tour and mucking around. But seeing him as this statesman of the industry now and a real thought leader in the musical space is inspiring to see. I love it. But I still spend a lot of time going, oh yeah, but come on, you're that idiot that hangs out with us. What are you doing? Like it's brilliant. It's so funny. We all have our knowledge branches. When he started to go off about all the Mozart that was written in wasn't E flat major or whatever he said, and then like reeled them all off. In my mind, I felt so insignificant. I was just like, it took all of my willpower not to go nerd.
It's great, but it's it's the old thing as well. Is part of the reason why we wanted to get him on the podcast is because look at all the great things that he's doing.
Oh my God!
And
yeah,
I
he's
was
changing
laughing
the world.
when he was talking about how he speaks with his students, and I've seen him teach, and obviously we know him as refreshingly honest, if you'd like to put it like that. And I never thought that model would fit into a conservatorium, but the fact that they do have someone like him in the con, I think in Sydney is phenomenal. And I think, as we were talking about in the podcast, these young people need to have it read to them. They need to understand the reality of it rather than just the kind of magical world that they think they're getting into. So having someone who's a leading academic, but also just so knowledgeable as a performer and in the field is just invaluable as far as I'm concerned.
Oh yeah, he's an amazing asset. An absolutely invaluable asset for sure.
Also, I just wanted to say before we wrap up that we did put it out there in the podcast that if anyone wants to compose the Felix the Cat version of the operatic duets for Simon and I, we're totally up for that. But your reaction when he was like, "Yeah,
oh my God,
yeah, it's good." It's good, and you were like, "But what? Like,
that is the stuff that really genuinely annoys me. Like, it really, if whatever makes him grumpy, that makes me grumpy."
Yeah, I reckon it would make me a bit grumpy too. Not that I wouldn't draw things like that on my own score, but yeah, like, come on, man, give me some kind of direction, please.
Oh my God, yeah. Look, on that note, I reckon it's time to go before we get grumpy in our own rights. I know that you're ready to head off for dinner, so let's make sure we get you fed before you get hangry.
Before I waste away. Yeah.
So let's say goodbye to everybody, and we'll see them, or they'll hear us, next week. Bye.
Bye-bye.